Oh my gosh, Blizzard actually did it, guys. They re-released the BFA corruption enchants back into the game. Okay, we're talking about gushing wounds, infinite stars. You know, those enchants that literally did 50% of your total damage. They released that shit back into the game. So I'm super not happy about that. And SkillCap made a video about this today, and we're gonna be watching it. But before we move on, SkillCap, if you're watching my video right now, please, before sending me a DMC strike or whatever it's called, and you don't want me to make videos reacting to your videos, just professionally let me know down in the comments of this video. I'm just gonna take it down, and that would be highly appreciated. And on top of that, don't sue me because I'm super poor, right? Okay, new corruption enchants. Let's check SkillCap's video. I'm gonna post a link down in the comment section if you guys want to check the video by yourself and not with my ugly face on it.
Wednesday on EU. Corruption enchants from BFA are back. And there is even a new cooldown manager built directly into WoW, meant to completely replace weak auras.
That is cool, though. That is insanely freaking cool. That should have been in World of Warcraft baseline, but, you know, it is what it is.
Good luck. We also got a quick tier list update for you, so stay tuned to see what's going on in the 11.05 patch.
Oh my gosh, SkillCap releasing a freaking tier list every 2 days, bro. Every 2 days, I swear.
Now, one thing we should immediately mention is that this patch is mostly cosmetic, as in there's no sweeping class changes, and instead, most of the content comes in the form of collecting new pets. But there is something you should know about. Corruptions are back. That's right, 6 of the iconic effects from BFA.
Okay, I'm gonna be 1,000,000% honest with you guys. I don't believe that, like, not even a single person on this planet generally liked the corruption system back in BFA. And if I'm wrong, just let me know in the comment section, because maybe you're part of the minority who actually enjoyed grinding forever in PvE for an enchant, which literally did 50% of your overall damage. Because I think as a PvP player, what we want essentially is just press on join the instance group and start playing right away. We don't care about grinding for enchants. We don't care about nothing. In fact, right now, the gearing system, having to craft your gear and getting the right pieces from the auction house and running everywhere and trying to figure out what should I put as an embellishment on my gear, etc. Like, it is way too over the top. As PvP players, we are simple creatures, okay? We just want to play. We just want to have fun. We don't care. We don't have the time for all that BS. We just want to press on play and start playing our PvP, our sweet PvP. Anyways, let's go back to the video. I'm sorry.
They have made their return, including gushing wounds, infinite stars, tentacles, and more. These come in the form of enchants, which can only be put on the helmet slot. Now, don't worry, because at least according to PvE Sims, most of these enchants only added around 2 to 4% extra damage, which is no better than most embellishments. Of course, this could be different in PvP contexts and could vary by spec and gear. Just for some context.
Hold up a second. What is happening here is, okay, you need to understand something, okay? At some point, World of Warcraft is running out of content to put on the line, okay? So what they do, they always do the same stuff, essentially. They put something for us to grind for, which is pretty much a requirement, okay? So we're forced to do it. Like, they say it's increasing the stats, the damage by like 2%, but really 2% kind of makes a big difference, especially in PvP. So we're going to be forced to grind for those enchants, and then they're going to be worthless down the road. But as of right now, it's just like, how can I describe that? Empty content. Literally empty content, dude. Anyways.
After hitting a target dummy for 100 million damage, Gushing Wounds did around 3% overall, and this was with 100% uptime. And in the case of Void Ritual, it gave around 3,000 bonus main stat at full stacks. But at around 30% uptime, this is good, but really wasn't too crazy. On paper, it would seem like Twilight Devastation might be a bit cheesy since it can now hit for a few million damage, but it had a super low proc chance. In any case, we would expect Blizzard to hit some corruptions with the PvP nerf bat if they wind up being overtuned.
I hope
As far
so.
as getting these corruptions, you will need to do horrific visions, which works similar to BFA with the addition of helpful NPCs.
Oh my gosh! Okay. I told you guys we're gonna be forced to do PvE to do PvP. I told you guys.
To get started, simply go to Dornegal and head over to the creepy icon. You'll then need to complete a few quests, including entering the portal to start a horrific vision, where you will earn a currency called Displaced Corrupted Mementos. After a while, you will be able to select the lesser corruption, which can eventually be upgraded to the epic version later on with the same currency as before.
You're gonna get a lesser version, which can be upgraded to a more potent one, which takes thousands and thousands of hours to get. No, I'm just kidding, but you know, you get the point. It's increasing. It's increasing. There's a wall, and the wall gets higher and higher, and you can't play PvP if you don't have it.
As far as what corruption you should pick, we still need more data. According to PvE Sims, Void Ritual seems to be the biggest overall DPS increase, which is why Wowhead placed it on the S tier for corruptions.
Alright, so the rest of the video is pretty much skill cap talking about this new buff, which is called Winds of Mysterious Fortune, which increases all experience gains by quite a lot, in fact. They're talking about the new UI feature. They're talking about yet another tier list update, which we're not going to be watching because I kind of want to focus on the main thing right now, okay? Essentially, the whole goal of this video was to discuss those freaking corruption enchants coming back into the game. What do you guys think about it? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's fun? You like grinding for those enchants? What do you think? I feel like as someone who plays like 12 tunes, it's pretty freaking rough, man. I don't feel like being forced to do something so I can be on par with everybody else. I just feel it's literally empty content. It's literally empty content. There's no other way to describe that. If Blizzard would be to release some like content, some actual content that you can play, have fun, get the hell out of there, and just like start playing what you enjoy the most, not by forcing you to do something to get like 3% more damage. Like, I feel like it's kind of a shitty move. I'm gonna call it as it is. Let's check really fast what are those enchants, okay? Because I'm gonna be extremely clear. You guys are gonna be forced to grind those enchants for PvP. Let's check the first one here. Twilight Devastation. Apply a greater rune of Twilight Devastation to a helm, okay? Allows your attacks to have a chance to trigger a beam of Twilight Devastation, dealing up to 1.5 million damage, shadow damage to enemies in front of you, okay? So that sounds like an AoE enchant that will most likely be used by spellcasters, just like Devastation Evokers, most likely Shadow Priests, I'm guessing. What it does, summons a beam of void energy for 4 seconds that deals damage to all enemies caught in its blast. Generally works like a frontal line AoE that wanders off its line a little bit. Has a fairly low proc rate. It says here that it's going to have about 1 proc every minute plus your haste. So if you have high haste, just like Shadow Priests, it's going to proc a little bit more often. So if you're hitting like 1 target, it's going to deal 100% damage. If you're hitting like 2 to 3 targets, it's going to deal 50% damage to all of them. 4 to 5 targets, 25% damage. 6 to 7 targets, 11.5% damage. And if you're hitting like 8 to 9 targets, it's going to deal 6.25% damage. Overall, this sounds like an AoE enchant. And then you've got Echoing Void. Oh, that sounds like a Shadow Priest more than the other one, though. Your damaging abilities build the Echoing Void. Each time it builds, Echoing Void has a chance to collapse, right? Dealing 25k shadow damage to all nearby enemies every 1 second until no stacks remain. Shadow Priest actually has a passive just like this one. So Echoing Void provides a stacking buff on the player incredibly frequently at a rate of 20 procs plus haste every minute. Oh, it says here it damages all the enemies within 15 yards of the player which has the enchant. every time it does damage. So this does mean that ranged DPSs are unlikely ever to deal damage with this, so most likely this will be an enchant for Frost Decay, like you know, melees that can deal huge AoE damage, and which are literally sitting on people's faces all game long. And then we've got Infinite Stars right here. Your spells and abilities have a chance to strike a nearby enemy with an Infinite Star, dealing 139k arcane damage and increasing their damage taken from your Infinite Stars by 38k, stacking up to 6 times before resetting. That sounds pretty insane. What it does, has a chance to call down a star from above, dealing damage to a random enemy within 50 yards. Okay, that sounds like a balance druid that you've currently in combat with. Every time an enemy is damaged, they receive a debuff, which increases the damage of your next hit of Infinite Stars up to 6 stacks, at which point it resets back to 0. With its moderate 2 procs per minute plus haste, this effect will take a few minutes to reach its maximum and reset. I have no clue, man. That sounds like a balanced druid thing. And then we've got Gushing Wound again. Your damaging abilities and spells have a chance to cause your target to ooze blood for 158k damage over 7 seconds. Again, that sounds like a bleed effect from a warrior, feral, you name it. What it does, frequently debuffs your target, causing them to bleed for 7 seconds, has a proc rate of 4 procs per minute plus haste, making this one of the more frequent procs. If it is refreshed while active, it follows typical pandemic rules for dot effects, basically saying that players with significant haste levels are likely to be wasting duration due to frequent refreshes, right? So it is what it is. And then you've got Greater Rune of the Twisted Appendage. Your attacks have a chance to spawn a tentacle, which Mind Flays your target for 50k shadow damage every second for 10 seconds. That is weird. That is kind of weird. What it does, Twisted Appendage summons a tendril rooted in place for 10 seconds that casts Mind Flay on your current target, dealing some damage every 1 second and slowing them while the channel is active. And this apparently procs 1 time every minute. This effect doesn't trigger very often, and it is the only effect of the bunch that doesn't increase its proc rate with haste. So pretty happy that these dudes actually tested everything beforehand. Then you've got Greater Rune of Void Ritual. Gain Void Ritual, giving your spells and abilities a chance to increase all secondary stats by 101 every second for 20 seconds. So, okay. What it does, occasionally provides you with a 20-second buff, starting at stack 1 every 1 second. After that, increases the stack count until it expires. Every stack provides a small amount of all 4 secondary stats, okay? But due to its ramping nature, by the time this expires, it is giving several thousand total secondary stats, okay? Cannot proc again while the buff is active, so extending the duration is not possible. And then the rest of it is pretty much nerdy stuff that is way too hard for the average human to understand. But essentially, they're saying that this enchant right here, Greater Rune of Void Ritual, is just like way better than all of them. So you guys might actually know right now which one you should be grinding for, unless Blizzard actually buffs those ones. You kind of know which one you need to grind first. Alright, so this is pretty much it for this video. Sorry about my ranting. I don't want to make videos like that, but I feel like this is a problem in the WoW community. I feel like I can speak for pretty much all of you guys. We don't want that shit in the game. So if I'm wrong, let me know down in the comment section. Don't send me death threads, okay? I just don't bother opening them anymore. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button to not miss out on the next videos. Very important. And see you in the next video, gentlemen. Stay awesome. This was Clunky Doo. And again, skill cap, please don't sue me. I'm extremely poor.